What's good, you guys? Daniel Cruz here, back with another episode of Cook with Cruz. Today I'm going to be breaking down Cease and Desist by Devvon Terrell. Super dope song, and as always, if you have not heard the song already, I will leave links in the description for you so you can go check that out. But yeah, this episode should be a little interesting. This beat is actually a couple years old now, and 2 years later we finally got a placement for it for Devvon, so that's pretty dope. I've also been going through some of the comments, and some of you guys want to see a little bit more detail on the drums. So that's what I'm going to be doing in today's episode as well. So I'll try to show you guys a little bit more, especially in the mixer with the drums, without wasting too much time and having the video drag along. I know these videos average out to about like 10 to 12 minutes already. So I'll do my best to kind of fill you guys in a little bit more on the drums. So after this episode, if there is something that I missed about the drums that you did want to see, please let me know in the comments so I can definitely include those in future episodes. So that's what we're doing today. Cease and Desist. Let's jump in and see how it was made. Okay, so what really started this beat off was a sample. So I'm going to go ahead and play the raw sample here for you so you can hear what I started with. So I already thought that was sounding pretty dope, so I messed around with it. So I did speed it up a little bit from the original that we heard there. I also pitched it up a little bit too. So going into our mixer, I had some EQ onto here, cut out a lot of the lows and some of the crazy highs. Tremolator is something I automate during the verses, so I'll show you that in a second. This will come on during the verses. Ambience, a dope 32-bit reverb plugin that I used to use, but I don't anymore because my system is now 64-bit. But if you happen to have a 32-bit system still, even though it's old, go look up Ambience. It's a free plugin, pretty dope. Panman here, another effects clip here that I automated. It's going to give a crazy stereo effect, as you can see here. I guess I did something crazy right here. The signal is going to bounce back and forth really fast between the left and right speakers. That's going to give it a cool stereo effect, and a stock low pass filter here that I use for the pre-hook. Again, this will also be automated. So I got a lot of automation going on with the sample here as far as the effects go. I also do some minor chops in here. If you can kind of barely see that, I chop a little parts here and there to give it kind of like a stuttery effect. But here's what we got so far for the sample. So that's going to serve as the intro to the song here. Right after that, we're going to have our drop and the verse is going to come in. So let me start off with the sample because I do a lot of crazy things with the automation and chopping it up here for the verse. So as you can see, our sample here now, I chopped a lot of it out. This was to leave the verse nice and open. And here is also where our automation comes into play. So the first one we have here, this is a volume automation. So I kind of set it up where when the sample comes in, even though it's chopped up, it'll kind of start loud, then fade out, come in, then fade out. And you can actually see it in the mixer here with the fader here. And then these two are Tremolator and Panman, which I showed you in the mixer. Those are going to turn on right here, as you can see. So there goes the sample for the verse. As I said, it's nice and open. A lot of it's chopped out. So let's come in here to our first instrument we're going to use. This is a whirly ukulele. This is what I'm going to use for the bass of the chord progression for the song here. So I played a fairly simple progression on top of our sample here to kind of, give us a progression, I guess. And here's what that sounds like. So now we kind of got something going for the beat here, now that we have a progression. So next up, we definitely need some bass. So we pulled up Omnisphere for bass facing phase is the patch. And into the mixer, I pretty much cut out all the highs, pretty much everything above about 450 hertz, and some of the super low end as well. Really just kept the beefy part of the bass. And our bass is just gonna follow our progression here. So melodically, that's all we're really gonna have for the verse. I really just let the drums do most of the work here, which I will now show you in a little bit more detail and kind of explain what's going on here. So let's take a look at the drums now. So let's start off here, simple close tat and clap pattern we got going on. Here's in detail the close tats here. This is a percussion loop I cut throughout the loop here. Open hat, I kind of bend these too on some of these notes. A little percussion fill. More like a reverbery percussive hit. Close tat loop, a little something from Splice. This is like a tambourine effect from Omnisphere actually. I'll pull up the patch. Granular tambourine. So there goes the first 4 bars of our verse. And for the next 4 bars, everything is going to stay the same. I'm just going to introduce a kick. Our bass is also going to not be sustained how it is. It's just really going to hit on our important notes here and then cut out. So that's the only thing that really changes melodically. That's just going to really open up the verse here and allow the kick drum to come in. So here's our kick drum. Bring all these drums back in. Taking a look into the mixer here, I do pan a couple things. Got the open hat to the left. I do pan a lot of my drums. I don't do much to it effects wise. Kick, I just cut out the highs mostly. I added pan man to the closed set here. Made it I don't know what I was thinking right here, but it added a cool effect here. A little bit of reverb. So I hope that was a little more detail for you guys to see what I do with my drums. Again, I don't really do nothing crazy to them. I do a lot of panning. I know this beat is a little bit older, so I don't do as much panning in this beat here, but as of today, 2019, I do a lot more panning with the instruments and the closed tats, just to give a cool stereo effect and separate some frequencies out on the stereo mix. But I'm honestly not doing nothing too crazy. If you really want to make your drums pop, I think the #1 problem producers have, we all like to start with our melodies. And what happens is we build up our melodies, and our melodies are super loud. So when we go in to add some drums, there's not enough dB space for those drums to really come in. So it's really important to keep your instruments low, so when you add your drums in, they can really stand out and pop. I did go more into detail about that in my mixing episode, so if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. One of the biggest things about the mix is your dB space. Don't use up all your volume space on your instruments, your melodics, because then when you bring in the drums, it's just going to sound muddy. They're not going to really stand out and pop for you. So yeah, if I missed something that you want to see about the drums, leave them in the comments below for me. I'll definitely get that in next episode for the next song or beat. So hope that was a little more detail for you guys for the drums, but let's get back to the song here and see how it drops coming into the next section of the verse. And for the last section of the verse here, I don't really add anything. Our bass is just going to go back to its sustain pattern, so it plays all the way through, and that's it. So now moving into the pre-hook, I pretty much drop everything out to leave it super open to get ready for the drop for the hook. So if you can see here, I'm going to sustain our sample out just like we had in the intro. Our bass is going to stay sustained here. And I'm going to add this patch here from Omnisphere, Fireflies in a Jar. This is a really dope pad. I really just wanted to add the chords, make it sound open and airy. So there goes our pad for the pre-hook, and to kind of replace the snare here, I have like a percussion beep type of reverb thing. I don't know what to call it, but it's this sound right here. And I really just use this to replace the snare. I also forgot to mention on this part 2 for the sample, that low pass filter I showed you in the mixer for the sample, that's where that automation comes in. If you couldn't already tell, the sample is filtered out a little bit. And here is the clip for it right here. As you can see, it turns on right when we get into the pre-hook. So that way when we come into the hook, it's going to open back up again, sound nice and full and big. So okay, so now this is where the hook is going to come in. This is just a matter of bringing all the drums together. I also do a couple different things to the drums here, which I'll show you right now. So we'll start off with the close tap pattern here. A little different, more sustained throughout. This is a new pattern here, new snare fill. I also have some layered reverberated claps here. And this is going to be on top of all the other drums that we already went over. So that right there is our hook, and after that I have like somewhat of an extended hook or a post. And what I do for this post, I pretty much half time the beat, and I do this with the drums. So I cut a lot of the drums out and I keep that reverberated clap that we had. That's going to give it more of a halftime feel. I'm also going to bring back our pre-hook pad right here. Because the beat is now going to be half-timed for this post, the pad is going to kind of make everything feel open and airy right here. But as you can see in the playlist, I do cut out a lot of the drums. A lot of these get cut out. So here's what that sounds like going into the post. And then right after that, we're going to go right into our second verse. So that right there pretty much wraps up how Cease and Desist was made. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I also hope I was able to help you guys a little bit more by going into a little more detail into the drums. Please let me know how I did, or if you want to see something more specific, just let me know and I will definitely touch base with that. But yeah, there it goes, Cease and Desist. It's actually a really simple beat, but I just got a lot going on with the drums here, which as you can see there. So I hope this video helped or inspired you in some shape or form. If it did, please leave a thumbs up on the video. I would really appreciate it. If you are not subscribed, please make sure that you are, because I will be back next Sunday with another video breaking down beats, songs, just like what you've seen here today. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And once again, links will be in the description to the full song of Cease and Desist by Devvon Terrell that is out now on all platforms. But that is all for me today. I will see you guys next Sunday. I'm out. Peace.